everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Breaking Character. My name is Jordan-Paige, and I'm the show creator and host. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I am so excited to have MARRIYA SCHWARZ on the show. MARRIYA SCHWARZ is a writer and comedian from the Washington, D.C. area. She's a recent graduate of the College of William and Mary, where she majored in American Studies and Creative Writing with an unofficial minor in ghost hunting. She's also a recent graduate of Kaya Alexander's Entertainment Business League. Currently, she's a creative writing MFA candidate at American University, where she also works as a composition teaching intern and the nonfiction editor of Folio Literary Magazine. She also works as an intern for showrunner Shitra Sampath and has helped develop content for Amazon, FX, and Netflix. When she has free time, she's a pop culture writer for Zimbio, a judge for NYC Midnight's creative writing competitions, a freelance writer with words in Slate, Women's E! News, and Slackjaw Humor, and she hosts a late-night comedy show on YouTube and TikTok called The Catch Up. She also co-hosts two podcasts, the Zillennial Support Group and Remake Hot Take. She is also the editor-in-chief of Everything But, Literary Magazine, and she runs an unofficial production group with her friends called Morton Third Floor Productions. As a woman of color with disabilities, she's committed to telling stories of diversity that intersect with comedy that always punches up and not down. So without further ado, let's head to Zoom. Hey everyone, I am so excited today to be here with MARRIYA SCHWARZ. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm wondering how many times my cat's tail is gonna pop into the frame. But yes, I am so excited to have you on the show and to talk with you. So let's jump right into it with a game of two truths and a lie. I'm going to attempt to guess which one the lie is, and I haven't been doing great so far. So maybe I will actually get this one. So whenever you're ready.
Okay, so this is the most strange mixture of fun facts that I could come up with.
I'm ready.
So when I was a kid, I won a contest to meet Georgie Henley from Narnia. I played Tybalt in Romeo and Juliet, and I was one of the early beta testers for Pottermore before everything with J.K. Rowling happened.
Oh my gosh, that is a very fun mix of things. You know, I'm gonna guess the second one is the lie for some reason.
No,
darn it. Which one's the lie?
The first one, Georgie Henley from Narnia. I wanted to make it like semi-true to real life. When I first got Facebook, like as a child, no one explained to me that people could make fake profiles for celebrities. So I really was just talking to this fake Georgie Henley profile. Oh. So maybe it was her. Maybe I gave you three truths. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Well, and then how was beta testing for Pottermore then? Oh my gosh.
It was interesting. It was really long time ago, but you had to like find this like feather and like make it float and then answer like trivia questions or something, but it was like all UK time to be able to be like a Pottermore tester. But then I just like went through the things and I wrote little like reviews of everything, and it was really exciting because when my friends all got on it, like after it was released, they were all like so and so like 17 80 something, and I was like Purple Leviosa 75, and I was like, am I better than everyone?
I love that. That is so cool. Oh my gosh. I remember after reading the series and finding out that Pottermore was a thing, and I was like, this is so cool. This is so awesome. And now I don't think I've touched that site in years. Literally years. Okay, so moving into our questions, I would love to hear more about your YouTube and TikTok show, The Catch Up, and your podcast, Remake Hot Take. So what can you tell us about those? How did those get started?
Sure, yeah. So The Catch Up, we had started a late night comedy show in college, and we were class of 2020, so it was like the class of like never really graduated.
Yep.
And so we're like, let's just kind of continue. But then it was like weird to kind of do things under the realm of William and Mary. So we made our own show called The Catch Up. And yeah, so it's me and my friend Brooke, and we have like a few other writers or script supervisors. We have Casey Lenhart, who did our music, which is really cool to have like a composer on board. And so it's kind of all like, I would say SNL Weekend Update kind of style with like headlines and really quick jokes. And so I feel like it works really well for TikTok since it's like a pretty small format. But yeah, so we do jokes like every other week and stuff, and film throughout the week, and it's sometimes a lot, but it also makes me read the news more, which is helpful.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. And then on Remake Hot Take, basically we just want to do a podcast for a while, because if you lived through the pandemic and you didn't create a podcast, like
That was a whole
what
big,
were you doing?
did you even go through the pandemic?
Exactly. And so we were thinking about, because I think podcasts are best when they're really rather structured, because I can go on forever. And so my friend Brooke and I from the Ketchup as well, we decided to think about how we're in really the decade of remakes and reboots and everything right now. So we decided to have a little more fun with that and think about what it would be like if you remade something but changed only one thing about it. And so that's what we do. We just released our Twilight episode.
I saw that in your blog that's what you guys
Yeah.
were doing.
Yeah, so we did like I did Twilight, but if Edward could only read Bella's thoughts. And then my friend did like a bunch of them, but she did one of them was Bella, but if her scent was Fantasy by Britney Spears.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Oh,
so we try to alternate between like the Ketchup and Remake Hot Takes so that we're not completely dying.
yeah, not doing both at the exact same time. Oh, that
Mhm.
is so cool. I love those ideas. As you said, like, you know, reading the news a little bit more and you know, keeping up with everything is great, and then being able to make some jokes out of them. And then I love that, changing just one thing about a thing. You're right though. I mean, so many remakes are happening right now, and like some of them I'm here for and I'm super excited to see. And then there's others that I'm like, please don't touch it. Please, no, please don't touch that. Like I think that's good how it is.
Exactly.
Okay, so could you also tell us a little bit about what it's like being a creative writing MFA candidate at American University? Because that, I mean, deciding to do a program after college is a really, really big choice. So like what brought you to that decision?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely really weird of like I went through the whole thing of graduating from undergrad, like never having to write a paper again. And then I was like, what if we do this again? But I think it was like, you know, pandemic, jobs were hard. And I started thinking about like maybe I would want to go into being a professor or for publishing, especially getting an agent. The MFA definitely helps with that. So that's kind of was my decision to go back to school. And it's, you know, close to where I live, so it wasn't like a huge stretch or anything. But it's definitely a very different college experience than what I'm used to, because, you know, I graduated 2020, so I never have had that experience of like being in masks all the time. And that's such a weird thing with like social dynamics. Like when there's break time, you have to decide, am I going to go talk to people, or am I going to go like take off my mask and breathe and drink water outside? So it's like this weird kind of situation. But I mean, it's nice to be around other people who like hold art in the highest degree. And what I like is that, you know, some MFA programs tend to be pretty annoying about like literary journalism or literary fiction, and like if you're not Hemingway, get out.
Leave.
So I like that this one like kind of is more open to different forms of fiction. Like I write comedy, and I'm definitely not Hemingway by any means.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely do. Going out into the job market right as that was hitting was not a time. That was not
Oh.
a fun time. So along with making podcasts and baking lots of bread at home, it was okay. Well, how are jobs gonna work? But I'm glad it's close to where you live, and I loved watching your vlog your walk when you were like, it's not. I'm getting used to it, and then this is what we like to call a lie. um,
It's so painful. It's just a big hill. It's
uh,
really not, it doesn't look that bad,
But when you're doing it all the time, yeah, I bet,
mhm,
especially if it's really cold and you're trying to like breathe and the cold air and
exactly.
your lungs are like, help. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
and
bet
it's like
it's fun.
endurance, don't know her.
I don't either. I have zero endurance. In fact, I'm pretty sure they gave me an inhaler for exercise induced asthma. So yeah, I wouldn't do well with
Oh,
that.
no.
Would not work. So I'm with you on that one. Endurance doesn't exist for me.
Mhm.
All right, so on to the wild card question. Has
Okay.
nothing to do with anything. We've got a bit of a deep wild card question here, which
Ooh,
is there a life lesson you feel you've had to learn the hard way?
ooh, that's a tough one. Well, I think the best life lesson I got, um, I it was hard in the way that it was a really awkward encounter because I was in a shopping mall with my friends, and this old drunk man came up to us and said, "It's so nice to see young people having fun. Don't get jobs. Just take your parents' money because someday you'll be Miss America." And I think and I think that's the biggest life lesson, but it was such, it was a awkward encounter. So it was a hard lesson to learn, but I hold on to that every day.
What an amazing once in a lifetime experience to have with anyone.
Yeah.
Wow. Definitely a moment, as you said, that you will not forget. That's a time. Wow.
Yeah.
Definitely good
I'm
life
waiting.
lesson.
I'm waiting for my Miss America moment to happen.
Hey, he wrote it into existence for you. It's gonna
Exactly.
happen. All right, so moving on to the second game, which is memory association. So I've got my random word generator pulled up here on my phone, and I'm going to generate a random word, and when a good one comes up, because sometimes they're just awful, we will both share the first memory that comes to our head when we think of this word. So it looks like our word is okay. This one might be interesting. The word is attack.
Interesting.
I'm trying to think of mine. If we both can't think of one, I can always pull up another word.
I'm only getting panic attacks.
Okay, I feel that one too. I'm with you on that one. Um, Here, I'll choose a different word for us. Let's see. Oh, this one, nope, that one wasn't good either. Why are all of these so bad? Um, okay, here's a fairly one. Kitchen.
Kitchen. Okay. All right.
Okay. Okay, go ahead if you have yours.
Okay. So, um, when I what this isn't even really an interesting story, but this is the first thing that came to mind. Um, when I was a kid, uh, I was carrying like a plate to the kitchen sink and stuff, and this is kind of an attack in a way
Look at that,
my
combining
of
both
my
of them.
senses. But I just dropped the ceramic plate
Oh no.
onto my foot in the kitchen. This is where the kitchen comes in,
No.
and it was completely fine. The only thing that like broke was like my nail in half and stuff. Like I just like died a little inside, and my toe's never been the same since.
Ah, darn. Yeah, see, look at that. You got to combine the two. Mine is
Exactly.
probably not in a well, I guess sort of. It sort of combines both of them. The first thing I thought of was this photo of me that's probably when I was like, I don't know, 9 or 10, something like that. And it's me in this like dress, like in a dress in the kitchen making brownies, but like I think I have or no, that's one photo, but then there's another one. That's the one I was thinking of. But when I was like really, really little, so I was probably like 3 or 4, and I have these like giant headphones on over my ears because we're like working with the mixer. It's like my dad and I or something. And so an attack on the senses, and just like I had like very much sensory issues with like sounds. So I just had these giant headphones over my ears while we were making, I don't know what, but it's the only thing is I don't, because I was young enough that I don't have that memory, but I have the memory of seeing the photo. So I know that it happened. But yeah, that was that's
cooking memories. I remember I always used to like, when I was a kid, I would climb up on this stool and I would I would like spin the bowl really fast and then go around with my head. And there are a lot of videos of me doing that. That was TV back in the day. That was our video games.
That was entertainment right there. Entertainment didn't get any better than that. Oh my gosh. All right, so I know you can't talk at all about the projects you've helped develop on those really awesome networks because NDAs are very important, but I'd love to hear about your experience working for a showrunner. How has that been?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really grateful for, I think that there is a big push in entertainment right now for people being like, it was really hard for me to get in. It shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah.
And I think especially with women, I've seen a lot of things where it's like, you know, it's hard to get in as a woman in general because of prejudice and all of that. So it's like, why are we gatekeeping these things? So I've been really grateful. So I work with a showrunner named Chitra Sampath, and she went to William & Mary as well. So I met her through William & Mary's Global Film Festival. I think now they're calling it the Ampersand Film Festival or something like that, Ampersand Art Festival. But yeah, she was basically like, show me what you're working on. And then she was like, you know, I need some research and stuff. And it's just really interesting to have someone like that who's like, I'm gonna help build you up and answer your questions. And I think it's also like really easy, especially when you're young, to be taken advantage of. And so she's like, send me any job things you're trying to do and I'll let you know if like they're legit and stuff. And so yeah, just a lot of development, research packets, reading like books for possible adaptation. So that's what a lot of the stuff what I was doing, where it was just kind of like making outlines and doing stuff like that. And so it was really interesting to get involved in the process. And she like let me get into every step, and it's like, oh my gosh, am I like on a email chain with like this big celebrity?
I
like
feel so fancy.
like lol me. And so that was like a kind of cool taste, I guess, of like what could possibly come.
That's awesome. And you're right. It should not be, you know, that difficult to even have the steps to get into the industry, right? Like it's so difficult to be like, okay, what do I do? And they're like, well, I don't really, it just happens. And you're like, what do you mean? It just, no, there has to be, and then you're right. Like, I think thankfully we're the end, and by we're, I mean the entertainment industry starting to become more, you know, inclusive and things like that. And I mean, I guess it's kind of sad that the only reason I think that's happened is because society has developed to be like, hey, we don't want to see only representation of one type of people anymore. Like that's not how the world is. So, you know, in a way it's I'm glad that society has pushed it that way, but you know, and that the entertainment industry is starting to listen. But you're right, I absolutely agree with you there. It should be much easier, and I'm glad you've got someone who will look out for you and say, yep, nope, that sounds like a scam, let's not do that one, which is awesome. And then
I've also heard it being described as like getting into the entertainment industry is like you're walking in a hallway and suddenly like a panel opens and suddenly you fall through and you can't explain how you got there, and you can't, like, no one else can get through the same door, which sounds like a horror movie, and I think that's
That
the best
honestly is
way.
such a really good explanation though, because like I do understand where people say like it happens differently for everyone, which makes total sense. Cause you're right, like some person might do thing number one and two people do thing number one, and the first person gets an opportunity from thing one, but the second one has to go to number two. And like, but at least having the steps to like, this is how you can work to where you want to be, instead of being like, well, just do everything until you figure it out. It's like, but I don't want to do everything. I want, as you said, and then that leaves even more opportunity for someone to take advantage, or someone to, prey upon the fact of like, oh, this person's new, they don't know what's happening. Let's just not a great time. And so could you give some advice to those watching? This could be any type of advice you want, career advice, life advice, whatever you'd like to give.
Sure. Yeah. So I have been really grateful to know Kaya Alexander, who is the founder of the Entertainment Business School League, which has some great programming. And her big advice is always find your wolf pack, which means like find people who want to do similar things, who want to collaborate with you, because I think just kind of building some kind of portfolio, or just trying things out is super important. And I think the great thing about a wolf pack mentality is that, entertainment is kind of always seen as something super cutthroat. But I think it's a lot more kind and fun if you're like, we're all going to get in together. Like, just one of you in the wolf pack has to make it, and then they can get the other people in, which also leads to like some fun conversations of like, I thought you were the one who was going to get us in. What do you mean it's on me? But I think, a lot of this business is through connections, and so I think it's important to know people who will vouch for you, and that's usually your peers. And I think another thing, at least, and I'm not the best at following this advice, but I'm working on it, is I think in the age of social media, it's really easy to compare yourselves to other people. And so I find it helpful to like even have something written down of, what does success for me look like? Is success for you fame? Is it, having time off? Is it having a family? And so then I look at things like, I start feeling jealous of people who are like, I got this big job at a bank. And I was like, why am I jealous? I don't want to work at a bank.
I don't want to work there.
And so I think just like finding like ways that you describe your success helps with the not comparing yourself as much to other people.
I definitely think that's some great advice. As you said, just trying to figure out, defining what does that mean for you? Because it means something different for everyone. I love that. I don't want to work at a bank. Why would I want to work at a bank? That's not what I want to do. Awesome. And then
Mary Poppins just never sold me on that.
Yeah, just I'm good. I'm gonna pass on that one. So when things do get tough, what pushes you to keep going?
I mean, my anxiety.
Me too.
But also, friends and family who I think, they root for me. But I think also just, it's sometimes hard to remember why you're doing what you're doing. So it's important to have that, like, why do I write? Why do I do this? And so remembering that I want to use my voice to tell diverse stories, stories about people of color, stories about disability. I think that makes me feel like I'm part of something bigger. And so I think that definitely helps kind of push me forward.
I absolutely can relate to that as well. Finding, what stories can I write? Who do I write for? And especially being, in underrepresented communities in media of disability and things like that, to be able to be like, those are the stories that I can write. I can be a voice in that, and not have to be faking anything. You're not saying, oh, well, it's like, no, I have firsthand experience. This is why I write these stories. So I think that's great. And yes, anxiety all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
Just can't escape it. It's never eases up. And lastly, where can people follow you and keep up with what you do?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, if you want to follow my journey through my Brendan Fraser filmography, at MARRIYA SCHWARZ. You can find the Catch Up on Instagram at Morton Third Productions, Twitter, Morton_Third, and on TikTok at The Catch Up Show. And then Remake Hot Take is at Remake Hot Take on all profiles, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd. So yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, I will put all of that in the description of this
Thank
video.
you.
So everyone can go follow all of those and not miss what you post and get some good laughs, of course. Well, those are all of my questions. So thank you so much again for being on the show.
No, thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun, and I've never been on like a talk show before, so I feel like this cool energy. Like I feel compelled to like shout out, like everyone's going home with like a TCL Roku TV. So this is really fun. And congratulations to you with all your success. Like I follow you on TikTok and Instagram, and I've been like following your, screenwriting journal or journey and everything. So that's been so exciting to see.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. And it's definitely, I'm glad that this has been fun. It is I'm honored to be your first talk show experience. I'm so honored. All right, well, I'll go ahead and click stop on the recording, and we are going to head out of Zoom.
Thank you all so much again for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please feel free to like, subscribe, leave a comment if you want. You can follow Marriyya and I on all of our social medias down below. And if you'd like to follow us on Instagram, our Instagram handle is Breaking Character Show. My cat has decided to come say hi. Next week, we actually don't have a guest on the show, so we'll have a break, and then we will be back next week. So I look forward to... let me just forget my own outro again. Thank you all so much again for watching, and we will see you next Tuesday.